After months of claiming that President Biden is too slow and feeble for the job, his bad faith MAGA critics on the Fox propaganda network are now complaining that he's too energetic and too jacked up, prompting a refutation by Fox News liberal commentator Jessica Tarlov. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, friends. So as you know, yesterday or last evening, rather, President Biden gave his third State of the Union address. He was feisty. He was combative. He was aggressive. He was everything that a Biden supporter or a Democrat, people who oppose the MAGA movement, want Joe Biden to be in these perilous times. But the very people who have been complaining all this time that he's cognitively impaired and he's too slow are now saying that something's going on because he's too much of the opposite. I'm going to play about 4 clips back to back just to set the stage of Jeanine Pirro and Jesse Waters and Greg Gutfeld on The Five, just all of a sudden doing a 180 and saying that Biden is too much in the opposite direction. And then we'll play Jessica Tarlov's response.
Get that they're happy. But you know what I want to know, Shannon? Why was this different? I've been watching this guy for 3 years. I have watched the cognitive decline for 3 years, the tripping, the falling, the mumbling. And you say to yourself, what did they do differently? Did he sleep? But we know he's had 140 vacation days in the last year. What caused him to be hyper, pumped up, amped up?
So again, it has to be something nefarious. Here's another clip.
But, you know, okay, last night he spoke, and he spoke fiercely and aggressively, but he was a cantankerous, kind of combat-ready guy, okay? And it was not the right time.
So again, just no pleasing these people. You know, he's too genial, he's too feeble, he's too this and too that. Now he's too aggressive and he's cantankerous. He's like Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino. It's just get off my lawn.
Because now he's going to say, I feel my confidence, I can rise to the moment. Do those debates happen?
If they give him, for the debate, what they gave him last night, then yeah.
What drug do you guys think he was on?
I'm not a doctor, but they're giving him something, Jessica.
What?
Listen.
Cold medicine?
If you see a horse, and the horse is old and injured and mopes around the barnyard, and then all of a sudden you race the horse and he fires out of the gate and laps everybody.
Which to me is awesome because Jesse Waters right here is admitting that Biden lapped everybody in his performance. It's a hell of a compliment to pay to the president. Here's another one.
Jessica, the man has walked around lethargically for the last 3 years. Barely picks his head up, can't hear, is out of breath, falls asleep, skips dinners internationally, dies out during funeral processions. All of a sudden, this guy is like
Amped.
I don't know what what that's supposed to be. So anyway, that's the context. Now, before I play Jessica Tarlov's response, I want to remind you of recent reporting, bombshell reporting, that the Trump White House was apparently awash in all kinds of stimulants and other drugs. Rolling Stone talks about it. Trump's White House was awash in speed and Xanax under Trump. The White House medical unit was like, quote, the Wild West, quote, and staffers had easy access to powerful stimulants and sedatives, sources tell the Rolling Stone. In January, the Defense Department's Inspector General released a report detailing how the White House medical unit during the Trump administration distributed controlled substances with scant oversight and even sloppier record keeping. Investigators reportedly noted that the unit had ordered thousands and thousands of doses of the stimulant modafinil, which has been used by military pilots for decades to stay alert during long weekends. The reports didn't say why so many of those pills have been given out, but for many who served in the Trump White House, the investigation highlighted an open secret. According to interviews with 4 former senior administration officials and others with knowledge of the matter, the stimulant was routinely given to staffers who needed an energy boost after a late night or just a pick-me-up to handle another day at a uniquely stressful job. As one of the former officials tells Rolling Stone, the White House at the time was, quote, awash in speed, with many people speculating that Donald Trump himself was a recipient of such stimulants, which explains his, up and down energy levels for a man of his age. So with all that in mind, this is what Jessica Tarlov had to say.
An hour and 8 minutes, I think, was the final count. And I think the most important thing that happened last night refers to you saying he's amped up. we're now talking about Joe Biden as too fiery, right? As too aggressive. And yesterday we were talking about Joe Biden can't find his pants. Joe Biden has dementia. Joe Biden is too old for this job. And that's how I know that it went really well, because the Republicans who have been on TV, the congressmen, senators, et cetera, people who would use the age attack are now basically saying he's an aggressive partisan who's maybe the Coke was his, maybe it's just Adderall.
That was my joke.
Well, you didn't tell me in the green room.
No, that's what
we're
I
like
said.
the same.
Yes.
And you also know that it went well because last night Joe Biden's campaign smashed 3 fundraising records at 9 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, and at 11 o'clock. And CNN did a poll of State of the Union watchers. 64% had a positive view of it. 62% said that Biden's policies will move the U.S. in a positive direction. And that's something that he was really struggling with. Trump was way ahead on that. That was up 17 points from before the speech began.
And we talked about that in a previous video, those flash polls after the State of the Union. Those are great news for the president. Time will tell if that, translate to any sort of permanent change in the polling. I doubt it, right? But it does present a great opportunity for the president to use as a springboard to change the polling. But the big news there is with respect to the fundraising. So as Axios reports, State of the Union fuels Biden's biggest fundraising day of the campaign. In what may have been the most important speech of his presidency, Biden delivered a fiery performance that Democrats will hope mark a turning point in his reelection campaign. In the 3 hours surrounding the State of the Union address, 9, 10, and 11 p.m., were the best individual fundraising hours of Biden's reelection campaign, a campaign official said. They did not provide the exact amount that was raised. I'm sure that'll be, delivered here in the next couple of weeks. Biden's campaign raised $1.5 million in the 24 hours after Super Tuesday, according to campaign official. Okay, I guess that was the previous record-breaking day. So, as we've discussed, President Biden and the Democratic Party enjoy a colossal advantage over the Republican Party and Donald Trump in quarter after quarter after quarter in terms of fundraising. It's a decisive advantage. It's not going to guarantee a particular electoral outcome, but it certainly doesn't hurt that Biden and the Democratic Party have an infinitely more robust war chest, as they refer to it, in terms of campaign funds than the Republican Party and Donald Trump. Donald Trump, as you know, spent $50 million last quarter in terms of legal fees. $50 million. He spent more than he brought in. And by the way, since he's a billionaire, I don't know why he has to spend his donors' money, his supporters' money, the RNC's money to pay for his legal bills. Something seems kind of off there. But yeah, Jessica's completely correct. I mean, the fact of the matter is that they need to pick a lane. It's actually kind of the same thing, though, that they've been doing, Republicans, when they say that, Joe Biden is dementia riddled and he doesn't even know where he is, but also he's this Machiavellian criminal mastermind who can elude the full power and scrutiny of the Republican Party since they've been investigating him for more than a year, and they haven't found any sort of direct evidence suggesting that he's involved in any sort of impeachable offense. So it's kind of par for the course for the Republican Party to have these mutually exclusive, contrary narratives running at once. It's easy to dupe their base in that respect. But for everybody else, for the left, for liberals, for independents who are paying attention, this isn't working. Pick a lane. But that's how you know it's bad faith. There's literally nothing that President Biden could have said or done yesterday, short of announcing his resignation, that would have pleased the MAGA cultists at the Fox Propaganda Network. If he was too, gentle, they would complain he wasn't strong enough. If he's strong, they're complaining he's not affable and congenial enough. So there's no pleasing them. But you and I know, and the polls reflected, that Biden killed the State of the Union, just destroyed it in the best possible way. And again, hopefully this will be a springboard for even more positive news to come. Let me know what you think in the comments.